Christian Castro joins us from Bits Computing, Bay Island Technology Services. Let's talk Wi-Fi. People think Wi-Fi is infallible, and that they have a box or a router Wi-Fi in their house, they should be able to pick it up everywhere. It doesn't work that way. Okay. Let's explain why. Christian?
Well, to be simple terms, you gotta look into the internet. That's the same way you see the electrical setup in your house. You pay Reco or whatever electrical company you have, and they'll give you connection onto a point into your home. Then it's your responsibility to have a proper distribution. You get a panel, circuit breakers, power plugs, and the same way goes with Wi-Fi. Whenever you hire Max, NetBand, Tigo, whatever, they'll give you internet to a point, and they may even give you a little Wi-Fi box. But if you have a big house, a big setup, you have to keep in mind that it's your responsibility to redistribute that properly. And that's when my company comes in. We behave as the electrician. We provide you a service in which we distribute the Wi-Fi around the house, and so that you can have a proper connection, seamless connection, we call it. That means you only have to put the password once, and whenever you move around the house, you just your phone, laptop, tablet, whatever device, would just change to the closest access point that you have in your place.
So basically what you're saying is that if you've got a wire, you're good, but if you're depending on the radio to bounce around the rooms in your house and find you wherever you are at all times, you're running into problems. That's when you come in. So what are the best ways to fix that? And which conditions do you find worst? I know we talked about concrete houses and multiple floors being a big problem for a lot of people, and that's who you see most of the complaints from.
Yeah. And the thing is, some people say, hey, I have a mesh system. I got this from a provider, or I ordered from Amazon. And mesh systems are good. They work in some environments, but they're not for all environments. Whenever you have a mesh system, the access point that connects to the bedroom connects to the one in the living room or the one in the kitchen, and they share whatever connection they receive. Even though you see on your phone that you have a 5-bar connection, that access point may be receiving 2 bars from the one in the living room. So that means that it's repeating a bad signal. So what we do is that, just as the electrical example, we move a wire to each and one of those access points, meaning that they get a pristine connection, a pristine signal from the main hub that is, let's say, in the panel of the house. So that means you get a good connection to that access point. That access point gives the Wi-Fi into the space. When it comes to concrete, concrete is the worst enemy of Wi-Fi because it doesn't go through walls. So we work around it, not against it. So if you have a concrete house, a 2-story concrete house, so we normally tell a client that you have to keep in mind one access point per space. We have 2 rooms on the first floor, 3 rooms on the top floor, then keep in mind one access point with each and one of those spaces. So that whenever you move around, you don't feel a connection loss.
It's difficult for people to kind of grab the concept, but just summing up what you said, point to point depends on the strength of the last point. And so if you've got good connectivity to that, you'll get good connectivity to the next point, as long as there's nothing in between impeding it. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about outdoor. A lot of people really have some pretty nice property here. They have a pool deck or something, and their router is inside and maybe the second floor or on the bottom floor where the cable company dropped it off. Trying to get outside also has its own bit of a challenge. What's the best way there?
And again, we come to the same example. I had clients that say, hey, I want to have a barbecue at my deck, and we'll have my pool and everything, but I want my guests to be able to have Wi-Fi. Or I want to connect a wireless speaker to Wi-Fi so we can have music here in total value. So what we do is, again, we run another wire from the main hub where the panel is again to an outdoor access point. And we have there are outdoor access points designed to be outside, where you know that one of the main problems here for electronics on the island is the salt. So there are electronics specifically designed for those environments. So we install one of those outside. It has a strong antenna, strong signal, and since it's in an open space, you're able to receive them in that area, no problem at all. But again, we just have to rely on that little wire coming into the access point, making sure that you get a good connection.
You make a good point here on something that I think is important. The salt air has a big effect on these small pieces of electronics. I had a microphone that was a wireless microphone that had been in a box, never been opened, and it was in my house. And I never used it like for 2 years. And then when I took it out to use it, it wouldn't work. So I opened it up to see if there was something I could repair. And the entire circuit board had corroded. This is a box that had been sealed, wasn't made for outdoors. It was kept, pretty dry, but there is a lot of salt in the air. So when you have to buy a piece of equipment that's made for outdoors here, it costs more money because if you want it to last, you have to have it built that way.
Yeah, and it's totally valid. It does cost a lot of money well, not a lot, but more money when you buy a specific electronic for the outdoors, either a camera or an access point. But it's worth the amount of money that you're not going to lose and be replacing it that every 6 or a year. We have had outdoor access points going in strong for 4 to 5 years. And the only thing that the client has had to replace is the little mount support that goes in the wall or that goes into whatever structure they use to support it, because that gets corroded as well. So they just have to change that mount every 6 months to a year, and the access point is still there working fine.
Okay, so in summary, folks, if you're listening and you're wanting to solve your internet wireless problems in your house, your Wi-Fi, the cable company isn't the problem. It's your setup inside the home. If you are renting from someplace and you don't have good access, it's quite likely that the people that have installed your Wi-Fi, i.e. the landlord, didn't do a good job, and you're stuck with whatever they gave you. And the only way to fix it is to put your own money in, because on this island, it's very unlikely the landlord is going to upgrade their $30 router for a $60 router, even though it would make everybody better. It just usually isn't going to happen. And you run into that a lot here.
Yeah, and I have people who rent. I don't know. They rent a villa for a couple of weeks, and probably the owner or the property managers has the little router there just to make it work. And sometimes it's not the property manager's fault. It's just a lack of proper information in making that decision. So whenever we had consulting about it, it's like, hey, we have to make this distribution, and we can adjust to budgets. People have different budgets. We understand that, and we can adjust to that. And we always lay down the proper expectations here of what you should expect of what you're paying. But it's a common thing. It's common when people say, hey, it's Max giving me out an issue, or Tigo giving me an issue, Claro giving me an issue, and I want to say 8 out of 10 times it's the internal setup that is not properly done, or or they're too far or something. So we come to that, and we lay down the expectations, and people have understanding, and now they have a solution to their problem, or people have approached us before or during the construction of their houses. One of my very good clients, she built her home, and before she even laid the first bricks, she brought me in and she told me where she showed me the plans, the blueprints and the layout. And I told her this is where we should put in each one of an access point. So I used her blueprints to signal out the access point and show her the amount of signal or coverage that she was going to get. With a software that we use for that. And she was like, yeah, this is how we want it. And we started building. We ran wires through the pipes before the walls came in. And now she has an amazing setup, and she can go around the house, no problem at all. It was a great success story. So, and we had a couple of those, but this is one of the first implementations we did that.
So if you're building a house and you want to have good access later, now's the time to plan, not later.
Exactly.
Christian Castro, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Keith.